Hello and welcome to another episode of the Nap Time Podcast. Today is Friday, April the 3rd, 2020. I am your host, Todd Napper, and let's get started with the show. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Nap Time Podcast. I am your host, Todd Napper. Today is Friday, April the 3rd, 2020, and everybody is social isolating because of the coronavirus. But I am not going to talk about that today. I am just going to talk a little bit about my life and things going on. I'm going to do the show a little bit different today. I've been trying to figure out a good format for how I'm going to do the show. I've started off with doing Today in History. I've done a little bit of Texas history. And so today I'm going to switch it around a little bit, and then at the end I would talk about myself. Well, today I'm going to switch it up a little bit, and I'm going to talk about myself first. These may end up being 1 and 2 part episodes because the last time I tried to record an episode, it was 45 minutes long. And I'm not wanting to have 45-minute episodes. I don't think you're that interested in my life. I don't think you're that interested in my podcast, to be quite honest with you. So I may do 1 and 2 parters, and you can listen to ones about my life and things that are going on in my life. You can listen to that part, and then if you don't want to listen about the history part, then you can just cut it off. Or if you like the history part of things and you don't give a crap about my life, which is probably a majority of you, then you can cut that part out and just listen to the history part. And if you don't like either one of them, sorry, this ain't the podcast for you. So anyway, so let's talk about, as the segment is called, what's going on. This is the segment and part of the show where I talk about what is going on in my life and what has been going on since the last time that I've done a podcast, which was almost a month ago, I think. And there's been a lot of things that have gone on in a month, to be quite honest with you. I have been busy. Quite honestly, I said I wasn't going to talk about the coronavirus, but I'm just going to mention this about it, and then I'm going to move on, because my thoughts on this subject are quite different than everybody else's, probably in the world, but I'm not going to get into that. My job, as most of y'all who have heard the show before, I've talked about how I work in manure and work in the compost area at the Scott's manufacturing plant. Before all of this went down, we were working 12-hour shifts, and we were working 6 days a week. So we were busting out quite a few hours at work. And on Saturdays, we would work 8 hours. So, we work almost 70 hours a week. So it got to a point where I was really just too busy to do a podcast, to be honest with you. Because every day I was working 6 to 6, and then I would come home. And as most of y'all know, I'm a voiceover artist as well. So I would come home and try to take care of my voiceovers and try to spend some time with my family. And I just didn't have time to do the podcast. And since all this coronavirus has hit, we are actually considered, I'm very, very, very thankful for my job, because my job is actually still considered an essential business. Because since we are in the plant growing business and we produce plants and things to help farmers and people grow their own food, we're actually considered to be essential workers and essential part of infrastructure, and we're considered essential infrastructure. Well, that's a hard word to say. I'm still not even sure I said it right. Anyway, so we've still actually been working. So quite honestly, this hasn't changed my life quite much, to be honest with you. A lot of people out there probably know I'm an introvert by nature. Another thing is I don't like people, to be honest with you. I don't like being around people. If you had me at home with my wife and my kid and just my family, that is perfectly fine with me. So my normal day is going to work, coming home, doing voiceovers, and if I want to go get something to eat, I'll go grab, some fast food or something like that. So, honestly, this hasn't changed my life at all. So, I'm just going about my daily life and my daily business, so yeah. But anyway, but since all those different things have gone on, there are a few voiceovers that I have done, and there was one voiceover in particular that I was doing off my freelance site that I've been working on off of Fiverr. I was doing this job for a client, and it was a big job for me. I mean, it probably isn't for a lot of people out there doing voiceovers, but for me, it was a pretty big job, and it was some decent money that I was going to be making for this guy. So I did this. I did the work for him, and Fiverr, they pay up front. You accept the contract, and they pay you the money up front, and then you do the work and you deliver it to them. Whenever you deliver it to them, they have the option to then download the work that you did and then use it. And then they don't actually have to click that the delivery has been done. They can just take it off of there and just move on and not give you a rating or anything like that. So I did this work for this guy, and then a day later, he comes back and he wants to cancel the job. I mean, I've already delivered it to him. He has the product in his hand, and he wants to cancel the job. So before I accept the cancel, I asked the guy, I said, why, if you don't mind me asking, why do you want to cancel this order? If there's something I can do to help you, if there's something I did wrong that I can fix for you, let me know, and I'll definitely try to satisfy that need and help you out with that. And he comes back with this cockamamie answer that everything that I had pronounced, everything that I had said was wrong. I mean, like, everything. And we're talking about words that are easily pronounced in the English language. I mean, I saved a picture of it just because it blew me up and pissed me off so bad. And I say, and he says, I'm sorry, Todd, most of the words are not pronounced correctly. For example, you are not pronouncing words like inbox, orange, blocks, performed, work, about, individual, her, receive, pull, identity proofs, more, moment, file, and so on. Okay, as I was just reading down that list, I know that sometimes I can get a Texas twang a little bit, especially if I'm tired. I can slow down, and then all of a sudden my accent just comes out, and it just. But even if I used an accent on some of these words, I can't produce an accent to say her. So, in my opinion, what I think the guy was trying to do, I think he was trying to rip me off, to be honest with you. So I had to allow this cancellation on this job. He probably still used the work, and I don't understand. It really kind of ticked me off. And to be honest with you, it kind of made me a little gun shy, to be honest with you. And I didn't try to get any more work off of Fiverr for a good week or two after that, because it made me, I didn't want to do any work for people who I felt like, I know there's a lot of good people on Fiverr, and I've done a lot of good work, and I've made some pretty good money off of there so far. Not as much as I want to make, but I'm getting a good start. But it made me a little gun shy to try to help people, because I didn't know who all else was out there who was going to try to steal my money, But anyway, so like I said, it made me a little gun shy, and I'm just now trying to kind of push my business back up on Fiverr, which leads up to today. I'm trying to do some work on Fiverr. We have, since the virus has spread and everybody's gone on lockdown, and our business has slowed down quite a bit at work, and we now are just working 40 hours. And so they've switched our hours to Monday through Thursday, just 10-hour shifts, and they give us Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, which has been awesome. I love that. And this is the first day. And this is the first day they've actually been doing that for us. The first week that they've been doing that for us, and so I've had this Friday off, and I've been able to do some work on a couple of audiobooks, which, thankfully, I've been doing some work for a publishing company, and they've given me a couple of books to do, and I got a book to do off of ACX, which is through the Amazon and Audible companies. I've had a couple of books come through there. So now that things are kind of slowed down at work, I actually have time to do these books and work on these books too. So everything's been working out really well for me, it seems like lately, as far as my voiceover stuff. And I have had a couple of other jobs come through on Fiverr. My audio commercials, I've been doing some work with some audio commercials. They're sounding really cool. I've had some help with Luke Pixler, who does the music for the show. Actually, he does the intro, and he's done the intro for me, and so I'm really appreciative for that. And so we've kind of collaborated together, and he does some music for me for my commercials, and I'm going to do some narrations for him. And so things have been really busy, to say the least. And like I said, this virus hadn't slowed me down one bit. So I'm really thankful for that. And I feel sorry for the people that it has affected. I'm sorry for the people who have lost their jobs and are going through a tough times with all that. That does suck for them, and I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rubbing it in your. I don't mean to rub in your face or in their faces, how well things are going for me, and I'm just really thankful. I'm very thankful how things are going, and I do send up thoughts for everyone who has been affected. I hope this thing gets changed very quickly, and life can get back to normal. But anyway, so that is that, and that has been What Is Going On. All right, that has been the first part of our show. Like I said, I may chop this up into two parts. If so, that is the end of the show for today. I'd like to thank everybody for listening to the show, listening to what's been going on in my life, and kind of keeping up and keeping track with my life. And when we come back on part 2 of the Naptime Podcast, we are going to do Today in History.